Hey guys, this is Shua. I'm here with a bunch of different supplies to make Halloween masks out of latex. So here is kind of a finished product that you can look at, and the cool thing about this is that once you've made a mold for it, you can actually make multiples of the same mask, which can be a really cool effect. So I'm just going to go through the materials here, and then we're going to do a video on the process of making the mask, and hopefully this will be a really cool thing for Halloween. Alright, some of the things that you will need to make this are going to be some plastilina clay, which is an oil-based clay that never hardens. It kind of looks like this when it's in a wrapper form, and then once you kind of work with it for a while, it's very hard at first when it's kind of a cool temperature. As your hands begin to warm it up though, it softens up and it becomes very malleable. And so that's really important. You're going to need some sculpting tools. Some of these guys you can get at your local arts and crafts store. I have multiple variety. Even tongue depressors can sometimes do the trick. And one of these is super useful. Yeah, those are some of the tools. Then you can use some texture items like sponges or wire mesh or even tinfoil or saran wrap sometimes, and you can get some cool textures to put into the clay, which is really nice. So those are some important things to have. I like to have a styrofoam head that I can put the oil-based clay on, and usually some kind of canvas board or something to put underneath it to kind of stabilize it. To give you an idea of, here's an example of one that is kind of in the process, hot glued to a board with all the clay on the styrofoam head. You leave a little bit of opening in the back there. And then these are like little plastic tabs, and this is just some polystyrene sheeting that just came off of some trays that I had. You could also probably cut up like a sour cream container or something like that and get these. And that actually is to divide the plaster mold in half when you get to the plaster phase. Okay, so just to give you an idea of kind of how that works, this guy right here is a puppet, and this is latex mask. His mouth opens and everything. I'm not going to put my hand inside of him because it'll take longer than it needs to just to explain. But this is the plaster mold that he was made from, and you can see that it comes off in two halves, and there are keys there. I actually made these keys out of bottle caps, and keys are just little devices. You can see kind of the negative there of the key that help your two halves to lock in place. And then you've got this opening inside of here, and that's actually where the latex ends up going in. And the plaster is, let's see, this big old bag is called Densite plaster. Okay, so I just got this, I think, on Amazon. I don't know. And you can shop around and find ones that are good for that particular use. Now, the rubber that I use, I don't think was necessarily meant to be used in this way. It's a latex rubber. It comes in liquid form. I got this big gallon because I'm doing this with my 7th grade art class, and so I need a bunch of this stuff. If you were just making one mask, you wouldn't need that much. But it's called rubber mold, and I am willing to bet there are a lot better solutions than this out there, but this one seems to work. And the way that I colorize the mask is I mix a little bit of acrylic paint in with the rubber, and that gives you kind of that greenish tint. And then once I've got it pulled out of the mold, I'll paint in little wrinkles and stuff like that with maybe some black paint. But the skin color, you can tell on the inside of this mask is like a peachy color because I mixed two different kind of versions. And the way this happens is once you've got your mold made, you kind of do a really thin brushing of latex in here, and I get like one of those sponge brushes, really cheap sponge brushes at Home Depot, and I'll just run around the whole inside, being careful that none of it pools up. I'll let that layer dry, and then I'll come back and put another layer. And on these two masks, this one had about 8 layers of rubber, and it holds its shape a lot better. This one had about 6 layers, or maybe even less, maybe 5 layers of rubber, and so it's a little more floppy. And so depending on what you want, if you want it to behave a little bit more like skin and hold to your face a little bit better, you might get away with a fewer layers of latex. If you want it to dry more, it's going to take you longer time. or if you want more layers, you want it to be more rigid and stiff, you're going to have to apply over a longer period of time, let it dry in between layers and everything. So there's that. Then when it's done, what's really cool is you can kind of give it different personalities. You can put a wig on there, you could put a hoodie on or whatever. I got this kind of witchy wig that I could put on there, and got some cool witchy fabric and stuff, and you can really decorate or do it up. So be looking out in the next couple of weeks for the tutorials on how to go about the process step by step, and hope you guys enjoy. Thanks for watching.